I share greetings and goodwill to you all. Once again, my fellow natural native earthly humans, the world over. Yes, you don't know that this is yours truly, I, the Mystic Philosopher. And welcome to this part 6, the continuation of my series of talks titled, Can Africa Be Set Free? Can Burkina Faso, the land of upright people, be set free? Now, if you haven't yet watched or listened to part 1 through to part 5, I ask that you please do so before going forward with this part 6. Or that you please do so at your earliest convenience, as soon as possible. In that way, you'll get the true essence of what I'm saying from start to finish. Now, so in the previous episode, or the last episode, part 5, I addressed, commented on, and shared some of my own perspectives on the possibility of the answer to the questions, can Africa be set free? And can Burkina Faso, the land of upright people, be set free? As no, being no. I share my perspective on the answer being no. I have even received both written and verbal answers, commentaries, and commentaries from a few of you, my listeners, stating that Africa can never be free. That Africa and its people, home and abroad, are under a curse, and that they, and by extension we, are forever doomed, and that our fate are sealed under the cloak of imperialism. Now, one of my most loyal viewers, have been listening to me for years, and very outspoken listeners, who himself is of African ascendance, said, or Africa ascent, said that it is impossible. It says it can't happen, and that we are done. That's how pessimistic some of us are. Meaning, we are finished, that we are hopeless. We Africans and African people are hopeless, even though he himself is an African. And that we might as well just give up and make the best use of what we are getting now from the oppressors and their system. Right now, we should accept and be done. Another one wrote, and I quote, my brother, Mystic Philosopher, Africa will never be freed from the European bondage that they are in, my friend. Unquote. I have also received answers and comments such as, Jesus is the answer to Africa and African problems. Jesus is the way out of Africa, or Africa's colonization, etc. But one of the most recent ones that I have received, and one that stood out the most to me, and maybe it was not so much the comment, which is very common, the comment itself, or the content enveloped within it, but maybe it's because it was written in all caps, which according to some psychologists and others, text messages written in all caps can be interpreted as expressing feelings of strong emotions, strong conviction, strong feeling of frustration, and strong feeling of aggression, etc. And it read, and I quote, only Jesus Christ can free Africa. Free you, free me, and free any man. The world needs Jesus. Unquote. Now, hopefully by the end of this, my series of talks on the topic, can Africa be set free? And can Burkina Faso, the land of upright people, be set free? You, all my viewers and listeners, and critiques alike, may both see, know, understand, overstand, and overstand why I, the Mystic Philosopher, honestly, vehemently, respectfully, and otherwise disagree with those answers and comments. and why I have faith. You will also understand why I have faith and know that Africa and all Africans, home and abroad, must be free and will be free. Hopefully, you may also see and without prejudice examine the perspectives, the critical and analytical analysis that I am sharing, and finally, the suggestions and recommendations for the solution that I have provided as a solution provider as well. And I say may see, and not that you will see or you all will see, because I am more than well aware that according to the late Mr. Dale Carnegie, and I quote, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still, unquote. A man or woman convinced of his or convinced against his or her will is of the same opinion still. So I'm well aware of that fact. And here again I will borrow and use another quote from the Adamic Race History and Holy Book, aka the Christian Holy Bible. And I quote, finally, my brethren, after listening to all that I'm saying, finally, my brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. At least think, unquote. Not necessarily accept, but think on these things. Now, on the other hand, let us look at the possibilities. If the answer is yes, meaning Africa, the motherland, and all its people can be free. Africa, the motherland, and all its people can be truly liberated. Then the next question, look at this possibility now. Then the next question, the next two very relevant and pertinent questions are as follows. Number one, when will they be free? And by extension, when we will be free? And how can they or we be set free? When will they be set free, and when will we all be set free? First, let me answer question number one. When will they be free? Or when, or even more correctly, when we all be free, will be set free. To quote one of our late sisters, namely Maya Angelou, and I quote, the truth is no one of us can be free until everybody is free, unquote. Meaning no country, none of us as highly melanated people, aka Africans, can be free until all of us are free. Africa, the motherland, and all of its people can be set free and will be set free, but only when the majority of us, the people, are awakened and is redeemed from the hypnotic trance and the spell of blackness, the spell of Belak, aka the curse of blackness, that have been cast, broadcast, recast and rebroadcast upon us by our enemies. Question number two, how can we be set free? How can we be awakened and redeemed from the hypnotic trance and the spell of Belak, aka the curse of blackness, that have been cast and broadcast and recast and rebroadcast upon us by our enemies? Now, please allow me to share some of the Mystic Philosopher's own intellectual, rational, philosophical, spiritual, metaphysical insights and perspectives on how and when Africa, the motherland, and we all, its people, home and abroad, can be set free, will be set free, and how we can and how we will be truly and fully liberated. And please note that I did not say, and nor am I saying how we can gain our freedom. I'm not talking about freedom, I'm talking about free. For those of us that are in the know, we know, understand, and understand the fact that there is a world of difference between free and freedom. There's a world of difference between being free and gaining freedom. But that is another topic, hopefully for another time. And the country and the people that I will use as the practical and factual example as one that was able and is able to be fully and truly liberated, fully and truly liberated themselves from the clutches of the same people, the same forces of evil, the same barbaric adventurers, the same human traffickers, the same parasites, the same group of colonists and imperialists, etc., etc., that invaded, colonized, destabilized, demonized, raped, pillaged, enslaved, sanctioned, exploited, and divided. You name it or you name them, our people and our motherland, Africa, is China. This is the country that I will be using as an example. Yes, China was infested and the Chinese people were oppressed and mistreated by the same demons, the same oppressors, and their practice of oppression and demonism, also known as imperialism, that have infested our motherland, Africa, and oppressed and are oppressing our people as well as other parts of the world. And for your information, or just to remind you, demonism by meaning and definition is, and I quote, action or behavior that seems too cruel or too wicked to be human, unquote. And again, for your information or your reminder, imperialism by meaning and definition, and for all practical purposes, is, and I quote, imperialism is the maintaining and extending of power over foreign nations, particularly through expansionism, employing both hard power and soft power. Imperialism focuses on establishing and maintaining hegemony and a more or less formal empire, unquote. That is from Wikipedia. And thus imperialism is just another name for demonism. It is quite unfortunate, but what most of you, my own highly enriched melanin, carbon skin people, aka African people, didn't know, and some still don't know, is that China, as well as India, I might add, was also a victim of the same aforementioned people, aka demonic people and imperialists. And that China, just like us Africans, had suffered immensely, almost to the point of their extinction at their merciless and inhumane hands. Yes, the demonic hands. For your information, or just to remind you, my people, and to whom else it may concern, let me read you a quote from a website called historycrunch.com. Check it out for yourself. And I quote, imperialism in China occurred throughout the age of imperialism, alongside other major events such as British imperialism in India and European imperialism in Africa. Imperialism in China is considered to have occurred primarily in the 19th century. But outside interest in China began centuries earlier. The major European nations of the time, Britain, France, Portugal, and Germany, played a significant role in imperialism in China. As well, other important nations that carry out expansion in China include Russia and Japan. But by the early 20th century, these nations claimed large sections of China as spheres of influence. In all, imperialism in China is a significant event in world history and led to the development of what? Modern China, unquote. Now, please join me in part 7 for the continuation of Can Africa Be Set Free? I will continue with this in part 7. Can Africa be set free? Can Burkina Faso, the land of upright people, be set free? In the meantime and between time, here's willing that you be more and more and much, much more, and definitely not be less. Don't be less, and let no one be less you. For I am the Mystic Philosopher. Ashe, 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 I say.